Welcome, everyone. I see a number of people joining. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us from today. I see the number ticking up here. We'll get started once we have more people in the Zoom room. What I'm going to get you to do, if you are already with us, is to introduce yourself within the chat and let us know where you're joining from. So your city and country, just within the chat function. All right. Once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're joining us in the world today. My name is Lindsay, and I am based in Toronto, Canada, and I'm representing Seed Global Education. And we're really excited to have you here today for our master class with Kogod School of Business at the American University in Washington, D.C. We've got experts lined up to speak with you on planning and positioning your career so that you are ready to go to business school and also think about what your career outcomes are post-graduation as well. So a little bit more about Seed. We host in-person events and also virtual events to connect highly qualified candidates with top schools around the world. And we operate in India, the Middle East, Africa, and also Southeast Asia. So hopefully you'll have the chance to join us both virtually or perhaps in person at one of our events. I'd love to invite all of you to join in the chat here, and I will allow you to join in and let us know the city and country you're dialing in from today. So just utilize the chat function. Okay, Anusha is joining from India. What city? Okay, we've got Hyderabad. Fantastic. Lagos in Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Ghana. Jaipur, it's all pouring in lots of cities in India. Fantastic. Kathmandu in Nepal, Pakistan. Wonderful. Welcome, everyone. All right. So a little bit more about Seed and also Kogod is that we have an impressive scholarship program totaling over $6 million that allows top students to access awards and scholarships from our many partner universities, including Kogod School of Business, who has an impressive 21 awards available for their 6 MBA and master's programs. This is an award pool of over $750,000 US, covering up to 75% of tuition at Kogod. So a little bit more about Kogod, and our guest today will help us learn a little bit more, is that it has cutting-edge graduate programs renowned for integrating artificial intelligence, sustainability, and STEM-designated tracks. And all master's students from Kogod benefit from the award-winning AI curriculum. So today we have 2 experts here to speak with us, one on career development and one from admissions. So you can learn a little bit more about planning your future career. So with that, I'm going to introduce our speakers today and also launch a poll to learn a little bit more about your goals today. So you'll see on the screen, first, wanting to know a little bit more about what type of support you find most valuable. So let us know if when you're looking to build your career, if you're looking for support on career coaching and advising, if you're looking for networking opportunities, perhaps interview prep and resume review, or employer connections and job postings. I know they're probably all important to you, but if you can just pick one and let us know what's most important for you in terms of support as you're developing your career. Okay, interesting. Lots of different answers. I'm going to end the poll in about 5 seconds and show you the results. Okay, so we do have a clear lead here. As you can see, many of you, 48% of you, have said that career coaching and advising is the most valuable support that you're looking for today, which is a great segue into our first presenter, who comes from the Career Center at Kogod. And I'm excited to present Robin Marks, who is the Associate Director of Graduate Career Development, and let her share a little bit more with you about how to develop your career and how Kogod is going to help you do that. So over to you, Robin.
Great. Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, evening from wherever you are. I am going to present to you all today a little bit about what we do at Kogod to support you in your career development. I'm super excited to see that you all are interested in career development and advising, or career coaching and advising. One of the things I find, especially from students who are coming from different countries, is the US practices are very different than those of other countries. And so there is a need to learn and develop and support around what the job search looks like here, what it looks like to actively engage in the job search here, and how you really position yourself. So that's kind of one of the things that we're going to go over today. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. So this is going to be our agenda. I'm going to do a brief introduction, go over my professional background. Then we're going to go into my career development top 5 for you all. And then we're going to talk about building your career bullseye and what that looks like as you position yourself over market. So this is a little bit about me. I'm Robin Marks. So my background is kind of diverse in a variety of different ways. So I come from both industry and higher education. Started my career in the federal government, actually, at the Department of Justice. Moved into recruiting for big law, so top law firms in the DC area, and went out to top law schools, as well as did lateral hires for big law. And we can probably most closely link that to some of the bulge banks and what the recruiting looks like there. Then moved into, went back to graduate school at the University of Pennsylvania, moved into really higher education and career coaching, did that at a number of universities, very large universities. And then from there, and ran teams at a variety of those universities. And then from there, and have run both employer relations teams as well as career development teams. From there, I went into the tech space and built a recruiting program for startup, recruiting highly technical engineers, chemical engineers who specialize in polymer chemistry, as well as software engineers, as well as C-suite individuals. So I've had some really diverse experience in terms of recruiting. And then finally came back to AU. I'm an AU alum. I went to AU undergrad, and have been working with our business students and running the team that really supports all of our graduate career development for MBA and MS students in the Kogod School of Business. So I'm excited to be here today and talk to you a little bit more about what we do at Kogod to support our students, as well as some universal traits that they really feel like can be important to you as you consider your career development. So quick poll, why are you considering graduate school? Specifically, or more specifically an MBA, but an MS program as well. What is that reason? And if you could put that answer in the chat, that would be super helpful. So I'm going to exit out of this really quickly because I can't see the chat. So I'm just going to come back to Zoom. Stop my share.
Just a quick note, Robin. I think your share screen is not working right now. So.
Oh, my share is not working?
Yeah, we cannot see your presentation. So.
Oh, thank you. To enhance, okay, so what I'm seeing is to enhance my career as I'm pursuing a CFA. Okay. Career pivot, I'm seeing to enhance my career. Okay, let me. Can you see it now?
Yes, it works.
Okay, that helps quite a bit. Okay. And now I can see you all as well. So sorry, this is our agenda for the day. This was me, and now we're back on track. So why are we considering graduate school? So a lot of times what I hear and what I'm seeing a little bit in the chat is career pivot to advance my career. What I hear a lot from our students and from students in general, as I talk to people, is you go to graduate school to either get a job or get a better job, right? To advance your career or pursue a new career. And so one of the reasons that I ask this question is sometimes in general, I think in graduate school, it's very easy to get bogged down by all the work, right? However, you lose sight of the goal. And the goal is to get a job, to get a better job, to pursue a career pivot, or to pursue a new career. And that we take very seriously at Kogod. We encourage all of our students to think of career as if you're an MBA level or even an MS level, it's really about this is your fifth class. You need to treat it as such, and you really need to go after it and devote the hours to it that you are going to spend that are necessary in order to realize that goal. So with that said, I kind of gave you a hint to this, but what do you think is the most common mistake among graduate students regarding career development? If you can put that in the chat as well. And Varsha, do you mind just kind of monitoring that chat for me and coming in and letting me know what they're saying?
Sure.
Just because I can't see it.
I can jump in as well, Robin. So we're seeing a lot of comments on finance and CFA. And in terms of the mistakes, we don't have any answers yet on that. But actually, one person's saying that not having a clear goal.
Not having a clear goal is a great one.
Again, not a clear plan of action.
Yep.
Pursuing your career goals before knowing the types of jobs that you're going to do well at.
Okay.
And just waiting for a few to have more clarity.
Yep.
Okay, and I think our comments are dwindling a little bit now.
Okay.
So sorry, one more. Trying to do what others are doing and not what you should be doing.
Sure. So those are all great mistakes. I would say the biggest mistake I see is waiting until March before you graduate and now freaking out and thinking, oh my goodness, I have to now really, really pursue my career. And or sidelining it and maybe not waiting to March, maybe that's an extreme situation, but sidelining it and not really taking stock of what you need to be doing along the way to really make yourself competitive in the market. You do need to have a clear vision about what you want to pursue. You do need to focus on your own goals. Some of the things I was hearing, those are really good thoughts, and those are very important mistakes that you don't want to make. But you cannot sideline your career, and you cannot sideline your career development in graduate school. It is going to be demanding, but you need to really also focus on your career. That's why you're pursuing your graduate degree. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about kind of how you do that and how you position yourself throughout your graduate degree today, to make sure that you're following along. So my first step for you, so I mentioned in my agenda that we're going to go through our career development top 5. So this starts us off on this career development top 5. This is develop a plan. Okay, so you need to have a structure. And so what I recommend doing, and this is for all students, is pursue concurrent plans. What do I mean by concurrent plans? So what I mean is you might have like, I want a bulge bank. I want to work for a bulge bank. I want to work for JP Morgan. And this is what I want to do, right? That's great. And you can't put all of your eggs in one basket. So I would like and I encourage all of my students to have concurrent plans. So sure, pursue JP Morgan, pursue a bulge bank with all your vigor, and concurrently pursue mid-market banks. And then concurrently, if you're an international student and you want to potentially pursue the US, you pursue bulge market banks in the US, you pursue mid-market banks in the US, and then you start pursuing bulge market banks in other markets outside of the US, so that you have multiple plans going and that you are actively pursuing those. The reason that I encourage students to pursue these concurrent plans is if you only pursue bulge banks in the US, you will miss all of the deadlines for mid-market banks in the US. And if you get rejected from bulge banks, you've now missed wonderful opportunities at mid-market banks, right? If you only pursue bulge market and mid-market banks, and you don't pursue any bulge banks outside of the US, you're missing fabulous opportunities outside of the US, and you're going to have to take whatever you can get because they have their own timeline and execution. So this is why I really recommend pursuing concurrent plans throughout your career development. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. Okay, so how do we do this? Networking is key, right? So you all just answered a poll and you said you're really interested in networking, right? Networking is vitally important. In Kogod, we offer a variety of different events. We have summits, and I know a lot of schools do this. We have summits, we have, well, not a lot of schools do summits, but they have networking events, right? So we have summits where we did a finance summit earlier this semester. We did a tech summit sponsored by NVIDIA. We have happy hours with our alumni, like we had a World Bank happy hour. We have other happy hours. Where we have our alumni come in and network with our students. Our students, we also very much encourage them to have active LinkedIn accounts and really get out there and network. This is important, and we train them in how to do this. And so that is really vitally important to your career success, because we know that networking is what's really going to open the door for you. Another major mistake I see is people applying to thousands of jobs and thinking, this is going to be my way in. It won't be. If you apply to thousands of jobs, quite honestly, you might as well apply to none. And I think that's really important to understand. So networking is really vital in the US job market. And this is something that we take very seriously. And I know a lot of other schools do as well. The other thing that I think is important is doing an honest gap analysis. And there are a variety of ways to do this. And what I mean by gap analysis is, okay, you're doing a career pivot. You're interested in finance, but your whole background is in tech. Are there overlaps? 100%, right? Are there ways that you can make yourself position yourself effectively for a career in finance? 100%. Are there going to be gaps? Yes. So how are you going to build and cover for those gaps so that you make yourself appealing to an employer? If you don't, the employer won't be interested, right? So you have to do an honest gap analysis. We have on our website some great resources where we have developed AI based prompts where you can say, look at my resume, look at this job description, tell me where you think I will face challenges within this job market or within this interview, and what are the gaps here and what are the gaps here? That's a great prompt for you to then go and explore, what are some things I can do to fulfill these gaps? It's great to do that before you start your program, right? So you know, oh, I don't have any modeling experience, or I don't have any of this. Like, well, one, you should be joining a student group that will give you that. Two, you make sure you're taking your classes that will give you that. And three, you pursue external projects. We have something, and a lot of schools do this as well, but we have something specifically called Forage, where we encourage our students to go out and get experience through these simulations. And these are simulations, a lot of them are done by Fortune 500 companies. Some talent will some TA folks, so talent acquisition folks, will come in and look at some of these simulations, and they might pick people to try to move forward. Others, you can put it on your resume and it's a nice talking point, but that's another way to supplement with gap analysis. So doing an honest gap analysis from jump can be really effective in helping you cover those potential pitfalls in your applications and in your in what you want to do as you move forward. So the other part of a career plan is really what we call in career services and in career development a lamp list. And this is developing a list of potential employers. So who are your top employers? And I mentioned concurrent plans, right? So you would have plan A, who are the potential employers in the bulge bank market? Who are potential employers in the mid bank market? Who are potential employers in the bulge bank market outside of the US? And you would develop a list of employers and then your advocates. So who do you know at these different organizations? Who don't you know that went to your alma mater, right? Undergraduate alma mater and graduate alma mater, and graduate school that you're currently pursuing. Maybe people that you might have familial connections with, other people, and those people are your advocates. And so then you know who you should be outreaching to try to start to get your foot in the door and hear more about their experience working for these companies. So this is how you actively work your plan and how you actively make sure that you are pursuing your plan effectively. All right. Second part of the career development top 5 is career coaching. We know that working with a career coach improves your outcomes. This is vitally important for you to understand. At Kogod, we have seen our students that work with us achieve the best outcomes. And this is true pretty much across the board. So we know that, our students that have worked with us last year, for example, we're going to Amazon, we're going to Microsoft. This was not one session. This was multiple sessions. These were sessions where we were doing interview prep, where we were helping them build applications, where we were helping them with negotiation. This is really about how you're positioning yourself in the market and how we can help you with that and how many schools can help you with that. So these are some things you can do in career coaching. So first is defining your career goals. What are those career goals? What do those plans look like? Second is refining your search. So sometimes we bring in like just such a big idea, and that's not going to necessarily be helpful. So we really need to narrow that down. So what is it specifically that we're looking for? How are we specifically putting that in your plan? And then we need to go about tailoring your materials. I said a few minutes ago that sending thousands of resumes, you might as well be sending none. That's very true. You need to tailor your materials. We know that ATSs are scanning resumes and scanning applications for keywords, but not only keywords, a variety of different things that the employer and the recruiter are putting into the system. And so you need to make sure that you're tailoring your applications and your materials for that specific employer. So if you're not tailoring them, you're wasting your time in submitting the application because you won't move forward. And those materials need to look very specific. At Kogod, we have a new system called Quincia, which uses the ATS system that's used by, I think, 70% of employers that are out there, and it will give you direct feedback on whether or not you would pass an ATS screening. So that's very helpful as well. You also need to practice networking and interviewing, which I alluded to earlier, and we also help you negotiate an offer. This is one of our success stories. It's brief.
Hi, I'm a KIT team, and I'm incredibly grateful to the Kogod Career Development team. Shout out to my career advisor, Robbie Max, and to Caroline. Working with the career services team was truly transformational in my job search strategy, from helping me build confidence for interviewing to helping me articulate my career stories in a way that truly highlighted my impact, my benefits, and all the skills I bring to the table and to my employer. This was truly a game changer, and I'm really grateful for this. I also like to add that they were with me every step of the journey and providing useful tips that really helped me advance through the interviewing process. And I'm really grateful for this. And I'm super excited to be starting a new career chapter at Microsoft. Thank you.
Great. So sometimes it's helpful if you hear from someone other than us. So I just put that success story in here. And this is someone who Ikat worked with me from the time I started last year through February or March of the following year, secured a job at Microsoft, was very successful in that and put in a lot of work, but it paid off. And really worked through that entire process with me that I just showed you all on the last slide. So this is how, if you effectively engage the process, whether it's at Kogod or whether it's somewhere else, you can and will be successful. So I think that's important to note as well. Okay. So the other part that I think is really important, and this is something that students sometimes miss, is knowing your school provided resources. And this is true for any school. And this is true for Kogod students too, right? So we purchase and buy certain resources for our students. And sometimes if they're not coming to us, they don't, even though we're pushing them out to them or saying, you log in, use these resources, they don't understand or know the value of them. It's incumbent upon students to really, really know and understand what is offered to them. If they're not, they're making their lives a lot harder than they need to be. I have students every day who will come to me and be like, I've been applying to hundreds of jobs on this specific website or doing this specific thing. And I'm sitting there thinking like, yeah, when I was a recruiter, I would post a job there and then get like, I was in a small company, I would get like 400 applications for one job on my own website and never log in to the website I had posted a job for because I just didn't need to anymore. And I have students that are going to that website and applying to jobs, and it's just completely ineffective. So I think if you know your school provided resources, you can really prevent yourself from going down roads like that in order to make sure that you're actively engaging the job search in the best way possible. So here I just spotlighted some that we have at Kogod. We have a network called the Kogod Talent Network. Most schools have their own individual job posting website. We also have these resources called MBA Exchange and Careernomics. MBA Exchange for our MBAs, Careernomics for our MS students, that are wonderful, amazing resources, both for job search, research, development programs. They are phenomenal resources. I cannot tout them enough. And every time I work with students and they really start to understand them, they're like, oh my God, this is incredible. They also have H-1B databases in them. So you can see like who's sponsored previously, how many people did they sponsor, where did they sponsor? They're just incredible. Interstride is another international job search resource. Quincia is the resume ATS system I mentioned a few minutes ago. And Case Coach is for casing and case interviews. We'll probably be switching to another system next year, but there are a lot of systems out there. If you're interested in consulting, and this is really important, I'm going to talk about this in a second, but if you're interested in consulting, there are very specific types of interviews, market sizing interviews and casing interviews. And there are a lot of really good resources out there to help you prep. You have got to prep for casing, and you've got to prep well in advance. Casing is difficult. You cannot prep a month out. It has to be like 3 or 4 months out. You have got to get it under control and you've got to know what you're doing. And so we're going to likely be moving to another resource called Management Consulted this summer, but it's really there. It's very phenomenal. It's great It's a great way. A case coach is also great. But you've got to find a way to really prep. So we're going to talk about that as we move forward. I know a lot of students are interested in consulting, so I did want to mention that. All right. So number 4, maybe one of the most important things I can tell you about. And this is, since I started last year, this has been my mission. And a lot of this comes from my recruiting background. You absolutely have to know recruiting timelines. Your company will not wait for you. Your dream company will not wait for you. I cannot tell you when I started last year how many students came to me and said, I'm really interested in consulting. I started in October. Consulting recruiting timelines started in June. The students who were coming to me telling me they were interested in consulting were too late. Okay, you have to know your recruiting timelines. So I'm going to go through this with you all, and I'm going to show you some of the resources we've developed and we have. I'm really proud of those resources. But knowing your recruiting timelines are vital. Finance has early recruiting timelines. Consulting has early recruiting timelines. Pretty much all companies have moved to earlier recruiting timelines, especially for internships. And internships, if you get an internship, is most likely to convert to a full-time job. And so you really want to strive for that internship between your first year MBA and your second year MBA. And that's really what you want to go for. So, see, look at how important I think it is. I'm just going to put timelines up over and over and over again, right? One thing that I would like to show you, let's see if this works. Okay, so on our website, just to give you a preview, we have recruiting timelines by industry. So you can go, I know finance was on here. You can go and see when are recruiting timelines, right? This is internships applications open. So you can say, oh, investment banking opens in August. If you're a first year MBA, you can see it opens in August for first year MBAs. What does that mean? That means you have to have your resume, your cover letter. You have to know how you're going to start to position yourself before you start school in August. Okay. Same thing for private banking. You can see is November, December. You have a little bit more time. But you then have a lot of these different things. So you can see what these you can see what these timelines are. And then we also have full-time applications over here. So we've gone ahead and done this for a lot of different industries. You can see this as well. This is vitally important. One of the things to know and notice is that, I'm going to come back here. Whoops. One of the things to know and notice, as I mentioned this a second ago, I said consulting timelines start in June. A lot of their early talent identification programs start in June. So if you are going to workshops that they're doing for MBB, if you're going to Big Four, identification programs where they're having workshops for first year MBA students, you are more likely to advance in their process because they're getting to know you and they're seeing your interest. So it's very important that you know what these timelines are. If you're interested in consulting, and so I will tell you this, there's Management Consultant has a wonderful resource that's free. And if you just Google management consulted recruiting timelines, consulting or consulting recruiting timelines, it'll come right up. And it's wonderful. I would definitely encourage all of you to take a look if you're interested. Yeah, okay, so network. Okay, so the next thing I would say that's vitally important is to network. So what do I mean by network? So at Kogod, we support going to professional conferences, and we encourage our students to go to professional conferences. And also we have career connections. And so I mentioned a few of those career connections earlier. We really encourage our students to go to professional conferences as well. I went to National Black MBA earlier this year. It was fantastic. The career fair was insane. I would highly encourage anyone to go. It was absolutely amazing. So we definitely encourage our students. I've heard wonderful things about Ramba, wonderful things about Hispanica. We definitely encourage our students to go to these conferences and make sure that they're making connections. And whatever it is, we went to a AI conference that was hosted in DC last year, and some of our students made wonderful connections there as well. Whatever your interest area is, it's really vitally important to attend conferences and make some good connections. The reason I mentioned the other ones previously is they also have interview rooms, and they conduct interviews on site. They're really wonderful experiences. The thing with those conferences is before you start your MBA, a lot of times you have to be aware of them, and Kogod would make you aware of them. A lot of other schools would as well, so you can sign up, because you need to get hotel rooms and everything else. It all books up pretty quickly. So that's another tip I would give you. Yeah, oh, and this is another, I will show you this resource too. We developed on our website, if you go to master's or MBA, I'll just go to MBA, I was at master's last time. Right here under conferences and competitions, you'll see a list of conferences by area. So like here are MBA focused conferences and competitions. We also have accounting ones. So you can kind of go through this list, and that should help give you some ideas. We've gone through a concerted effort of redoing all of our resources since I started, and this is another resource I'm super proud of that should be helpful for you. Okay. So I'm looking at my time. It looks like we have about 10 minutes left. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and we'll have some time for our admissions presentation as well. So maybe
Okay.
about 5.
5. Okay, great. So I won't go through this whole thing then. So one thing that I do with students when they first start is I have them to effectively talk through positioning. One of the things I do is say, I want you to identify your bullseye career, right? So what's the center marker of your career? And this is something you can do on your own. But then I would say, okay, so I want you to go one step removed from that. What's a job that's related to one step removed from that? And then I'd go out and say, well, what's one step removed from that? And then go out and say, well, what's one step removed from that? Because we're developing like, what are some potential concurrent plans here, right? And then I'd say, well, what's an internship? And then I'd say, well, I want you to start to write down some networking contacts that you might know in that bullseye career or some of these other careers that we've talked about. And this is kind of a brainstorming activity to get you started on how to effectively position. And I find that it's very useful in that sometimes this feels very esoteric and very hard to conceptualize. And this really brings it down to something that is much easier to think through and a little bit more tangible. And so I encourage you all to think about, what does that career path look like? The other thing I think it does is it gets you to think about, if I don't start at JP Morgan in bulge banking, where else could I start that will get me to JP Morgan and bulge banking? Because sometimes we don't start at the dream job. Sometimes we work our way to the dream job, right? And that's okay as well. But how are we effectively going to get there? And I want you to think about that as you plan and position, is if JP Morgan is your top choice, and if you apply and if you don't make it, what are the other options that will get you there eventually, if that's really where you want to go? And so I think that's an important thing to consider. So these are some of the things that we have on our end. You can follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn. I've showed you our website a few times. We actually just developed a Perplexity space. AU is a Perplexity school. We have a specific relationship with Perplexity. I don't know that you all will have as much login advantage as you would if you're a current student, but you're welcome to check it out. Let me see if I can move this. You know, a lot of the information I just mentioned, like if you said, how should I consider getting into finance as a master's in finance student? It'll come up with a plan for you based on the information that we've provided it on our website, right? So it's kind of an interesting tool and something we've been building. So you're welcome to take a look at that. And these are the different ways that you can check out what we've been doing. And that's about it.
Thank you so much, Robin. That was great. A lot of very interesting and relevant information on strategically managing your career. And we've had a lot of engagement in the Q&A. And what we are going to do at the end is come back to Robin and answer some of those great questions that you have about strategically navigating your career search and your career development. But first, I'm going to bring on our second guest and invite Varsha Sharma, who will be doing a short presentation as well. And she will be presenting a little bit more about Kogod. I know there were a lot of questions on the programs that are offered at Kogod, perhaps how to gain admission. And Varsha is the Assistant Director of Graduate Admissions. And I'm going to allow her to share screen and share a little bit more about the business school. So keep those questions coming in the chat. I know that Robin will be able to answer some of those, both on typing as well as at the end. And I'll pass it over to you, Varsha.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. All right. So my name is Varsha. I'm one of the assistant directors of graduate admissions at Kogod School of Business, the American University. And I hope you found the session by Robin very insightful. And I will take you over to, and the session that I will take you over to is going to talk about the core offerings that we have at Kogod School of Business, how we stand unique, and how you can build a graduate application at Kogod School of Business. So, and also I missed, and towards the end of the session, I will also share the application fee waiver code with you. So $100 of the application fee is straight away waived for you for all the attendees today. And towards the end of the session, like Lindsay mentioned, we'll open the floor for more questions. So let's dive in. So I will take you back in history and talk about American University when it started. We started in 1893, and within American University, we have 8 colleges, and Kogod School of Business was or is the youngest child of American University. We were founded in 1955, so nearly as old as our India's independence. We have a mixed portfolio of residential and online programs. And while the online programs is basically targeted towards domestic applicants because we do not issue visas there and it is offered at ET times, Eastern Time Zone, the residential program is STEM designated program or have a STEM track available so that you have your OPT extension benefit added to your program. So the Masters of Finance, the Masters of Accounting, the Masters of Marketing has a STEM track available for you to have that benefit of OPT extension. And within this portfolio of 12 programs, we have 800 plus students. So we are a small university. Within that, we are a small business school, but our impact is not small. That's how I always put it. So that's about the portfolio of core offerings that we have at Kogod School of Business. I'll move on to talk to you more about our uniqueness. So why Kogod, why AU? And we all know there are abundant choices for students when they think about studying abroad. And this is just our way of saying that we can make it to that list and perhaps top of that list. So like I said, we are a small business school and our average class size is 30, and we do not intend to go beyond that. The reason solely being that we prioritize quality over quantity, and your name will not be lost in the crowd. So you will foster meaningful connection, not only with your classmates, not only with the peers, but also with the faculty. The faculty know you by your name. So with that small class size, we do not also compromise with the diversity. So you will see 110 countries represented at American universities with students coming from all the 50 states within US. So that's the kind of environment you will see at the campus. And when we talk about our curriculum, we have experiential opportunities embedded in our curriculum. At the heart of all the programs, we have unique unique experiential opportunities, whether it be student management investment fund in the Masters of Finance program, where the students in the firm groups and talk, and they actually oversee assets in the firm, and that funds are over $1 million. They provide an investment idea to the advisory board, or whether it be ESG investing in these Masters of Sustainability, where you provide a real sustainability investment idea to the Board of Trustees of AU, and the fund comes from the endowment board. So, or it could be a full-time MBA having the Global Immersion Program or the Pro Bono Consulting Project in the full-time MBA program. We provide all those opportunities so that you become prepared business leaders for tomorrow. That's the kind of environment and the curriculum you will be coming into. Robin has done a brilliant job in talking about how the Office of Career Development supports you and guides you. I will not talk much on that, but the Center of Professionalism and Communication is another way where we provide support to you, where you develop your soft skills, whether it be your oratory skills, whether it be your written communication, or understanding the nuances of teamwork, project management. We provide that support to you. We also have a Center of Entrepreneurship, where this center is actually teaching you what are your entrepreneurship skills should be if you are interested in building on those. We have just wrapped up a DC Startup Tech Week, which was a complete hit with the students. And you can find more about it on our LinkedIn page. So you just have to search Valoric Center of Entrepreneurship, Kogod School of Business, and it will be available to you. So till now, the center has propelled 250 ventures and 150 founders, and they help you transform your idea into successful business ventures. So, and all to say that they do not take any ownership stake in those propelled ventures. So that's about how we actually help you prepare for your business at the campus. And speaking about the campus itself is an arboretum. So one thing I forgot to mention is American University is the first carbon neutral university in the US. We are the oldest AACSB accredited institution in the DC area. So that's how old we are, that's how accredited we are, and that's how much sustainability is our top priority. The campus is accessible by DC with a public transport. There's a free shuttle service, which is 20 minutes away from downtown, and that free shuttle service runs solely on the solar energy. So that's about the campus, that's about American University. I'll quickly run you through the class profile. So the class profile, where the international representation is 32%, where we have increased it to 40% now. The 44% representation comes from females, 29% from minority, and the average GPA of the class is 3.18, where the minimum requirement of GPA is 3.0. If you do not have a minimum score of 3.0, please do not get disheartened or disappointed. I'll talk to you about it, how you can compensate about that, and talk about your reasons for having a low score in the next few slides. The average age of the class is 25. So that's about the class profile. And I'll now switch gears and talk more about how you can apply to Kogod School of Business for any graduate program that you are willing to. So there is an application checklist. There is a scanner provided. Please scan this QR code. There is a link there where you can apply to Kogod School of Business. Once you have filled in all the general information, there is a personal statement, which is popularly known as statement of purpose. This is a 750-word essay where we want to know your story, we want to know your vision, your journey. So basically, what kind of experiences in your life led to this decision of yours to pursue a graduate program, whether it be master's or full-time MBA program? We also want to know what kind of industries, roles, or designation or companies you're eyeing when you are graduating from the Kogod School of Business. What are your goals within, let's say, short-term goals and long-term goals, basically, 0 to 5 years and 5 to 10 years? So what are those goals? This statement of purpose basically is a virtual handshake with the admission committee. Please take it from that standpoint. And this is our way of going, this is our way of knowing you better, of how you would be a right fit for us and how we can help and support with achieving your career goals. Moving on, the next piece that we would need is a valid GMAT or GRE. So all students are encouraged to submit a test score. This surely helps you with the enhanced scholarship opportunities. But in case you have, let's say, a professional certification in your kitty, a PMP, a CFA, or FRM, that helps you. That is something that you can highlight in the supplemental essay, and you do not need to take the test for that. If you have extensive coursework in statistics or have a very good experience in softwares, budgetings, softwares, budgets, so you can highlight those in this essay and let us know that this is why you should, this is your reason for a GMAT GRE waiver essay, writing a GMAT GRE waiver essay. The next piece is the current resume. This is just a general resume that you would apply to any of the job openings with. So starting with your education qualification, with your undergrads, your masters, if you have any, and all the kind of work experience, whether it be part-time, internship, volunteering, NGO work, please list them down here. With any kind of part-time work or full-time work experience, we would want you to mention the month and the year you started and the month and the year you ended your job at that specific company. One general tip that I generally give out to the students is when you write the kind of work experience you have had with that company is start the experience with an action verb, whether it be action verbs like collaborated, demonstrated, achieved. Those kind of action verbs basically helps the admission committee to know quickly what kind of work experience you have had. We need one letter of recommendation. This letter of recommendation is preferably from somebody who has worked closely with you. So in case of masters, those students who are applying for masters, this could come from a faculty member with whom you have maybe done some teaching, some kind of assistantship, help them in a project. And for full-time MBA programs, students applying for full-time MBA program, you can use your client, your vendor, your supervisor, basically somebody who can highlight your strength to us. This is a third party recommendation coming in the form of letter to us, telling us that you should sit in the class of graduate program and why you should sit. So we also need transcript from all the universities that you have attended, starting from your undergrads, any certification or master's program if you have completed that as well. We need a valid English proficiency test score. This is a mandatory thing. So most of the Indian students come to me and say that all their life, their education has been in English and their transcripts say the medium of instruction was English. However, we need an English proficiency test score. We cannot waive this requirement. So either TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo, minimum scores 100 on TOEFL, 7 on IELTS, and 120 on Duolingo is required. The next piece is optional essay. So this is this is the place where you can highlight and tell us what was the reason for a low GPA, whether it be financial or personal reason. Please let us know, and we would want to know that. This optional essay is also for students who think that they have a lot of accomplishments. They are students who have done a lot of research, a lot of projects, and they could not put that piece into SOP maybe. So they could use this optional essay to highlight and put focus light on that aspect of their profile so that the admission committee is aware about what kind of work you have done apart from what is mentioned in SOP. The interview is only for 2 of our programs, so Masters of Marketing and the full-time MBA program. If your application is shortlisted, you will be invited for the interview. So do not get nervous with the word interview. This is just our way of understanding you better. This is just one way of you knowing us better, and also your chance to ask any questions if you have about curriculum, about anything in general about the school as well. So that's about the application checklist and application. Moving on, the application deadline. So there is the fall 2026. So this is the slide that talks about the fall 2026 application deadline. The first round of deadline has already passed. Second round of deadline is around the corner. So we highly encourage all the students wanting to apply for the next year fall, which starts in August, apply by December 15th, only in circumstances where you cannot apply by December 15th, we have a final round of deadline that is February 15th. The reason we encourage and emphasize on the second round of deadline is because most of the scholarships funds get exhausted by the second round of deadline. So your visa, it also from the visa standpoint is also better if you apply sooner. So you will have the I-20 document with you. So those are the two reasons where we want you to apply sooner than later. We also have a spring entry for our Masters of Accounting, Masters of Finance, and Sustainability program. That's the sole reason that I have the slide. However, the deadlines have passed for all the deadline has passed for the spring entry for 2026. However, the application due dates generally remain the same. So if you want to apply for spring 2027, please note them down and have it handy whenever you want to apply to any of these three master's programs. So the most important piece of the graduate program is tuition fee. So we have a per credit system, so where per credit is $2,080. So master's programs that are 30 credits in total, they come around $62,000. The master's program with 33 credits, they come around $68,000. And the full-time MBA program that is 45 credits, and that comes around $92,000. However, please do not get nervous with these numbers. We have scholarships provided to the students, and I'll talk about them in the next slide. And there is a table there as well where we list down apart from the tuition fee, what you have to pay. That is your graduate activity fee, support services, your Metro UPass, books, and material fee. We also need, you will also have to pay for the admission deposit. That's your admission fee that lets us know that you're serious about joining the program. So for the master's program, you will have to pay a $500. For the full-time MBA program, you'll have to pay $1,000. That'll go towards your tuition fee, and that means that it will be adjusted towards your tuition fee. So the important part of the graduate programs is scholarship, and most of the students have this question: how do we consider a candidate for a scholarship? So the scholarship is basically based on the holistic review of an applicant. So we take into account your academic performance, your statement of purpose, how much clarity of thought you have had in that essay. How is your written communication? How have you performed in your interview, if there was one? So all those factors go into account when we are shortlisting a candidate for a scholarship. Scholarship is based on the merit, that is not based on financial need. You do not have to apply separately. There is just one question that we ask in the application. If you would want to be considered for scholarship, you just have to answer yes to that question. And there is an automatic consideration of your application for the scholarship. When we talk about the range of the scholarship that is provided to the students, and it's alike for international and domestic students. So for masters, the percentage that we have is 15% to 50%. So 15 to 50. If I talk in terms of money, it comes around $15,000 to $30,000 or $35,000. So you can see that there is a quite good range of scholarship if you're wanting to apply for masters. And for the full-time MBA program, there is a range of 20% to 100% scholarship. So I take immense pride in saying that this year, 2 Indian students have got that full tuition fee scholarship, and there are only 2 spots that are provided. So that is your chance. However, if you if your candidature could not make to that list of full tuition, the range is 20% to 70% of the scholarship. So $20,000 to $70,000 of scholarship is provided to the full-time MBA program students, depending on their candidature. So that's about the scholarship. And we also have graduate and teaching assistantships. So these are not typically offered during the admission. It is when you come to the campus, when you are a student of Kogod School of Business. These are available at through your AU career portal, and you can apply for them. These are typically compensated hourly, and students can work up to 20 hours per week. So that's about my session. That's about the application. Just if you want to connect with us, if you have a choice or benefit of connecting with an admission professional like me, if you want to connect with a program faculty and talk more about the curriculum and talk what kind of experiential opportunities and how it is benefiting other students, you can do so. You can apply. There's a link again there. There is a scanner for attending our webinars that are specifically towards that those sessions are specific to the master's and full-time MBA programs, and these are hosted by the admission professional and the program faculty. So you know more details about the curriculum, you know more kind of courses that we offer, those kind of questions. And if you have any questions, that is your chance to get those questions answered in the session itself. So that's about it. That's the way I thank you with my application fee waiver code, Met Kogod, all in capitals. So once you are towards the end of the application, you will be asked to pay the application fee. You just have to put in this Met Kogod, and it will be automatically waived off for you. If you have additional questions, please shoot an email to our general inbox, which is kogod@american.edu. You can also shoot an email to me. That's my email address, vsharma@american.edu. I'm an Indian representative. So any Indian students willing to talk to me specifically, want to talk to a current student or an alumni, please let me know. I am happy to facilitate that. I'm happy to help you, and I'm happy to help to make you an informed decision. So that's about my session. I hope it was helpful.
Thank you, Varsha. Some great tips, some great detailed information on applying to Kogod. And I know there's been a lot of questions in the chat that have been answered by both Varsha and Robin. And we're just a little over time, but we'll take a couple more questions within the chat because there have been some great ones related to the career presentation. And one that I wanted to highlight for you, Robin, was there were some questions on being an effective networker. And so what are some of the common mistakes that we as students make while networking or reaching out to professionals that you can correct? So that's from Hannah, and I'll pass that to you, Robin. I think you're just on mute. I think you're still on mute there. Thanks.
Sorry, I have another meeting, so I was just letting them know that I was going over a little bit. Okay, so common networking mistakes. Is that what the question was?
Yes.
So common networking mistakes, I think, is having one conversation and thinking you're networking and then letting it die, right? So in other words, not doing anything to maintain or grow that networking conversation. So in other words, one of the things I recommend for students is to, once they have a conversation, ask for advice from the alum or the professional, and then reach out and say, hey, I took your advice. This was really great. This is what I learned from it, and continue to grow that connection. Maybe you see their company in the news. Maybe you send them a news article and say, I thought this was really interesting, and I noticed this based on our conversation, to continue to foster that connection. So if you have one conversation, you're not networking. If you're building on that conversation, you're networking, right? So having that one conversation is not effectively networking. Networking is a relationship. So I think that is one big mistake I see. The other big mistake I see is that students think that if they get a referral link, that's like the gold, and it's not. And so students will approach a conversation and be like, hi, it's nice to meet you. Can I have a referral link? And the answer is no, or the answer is, okay, I'll give you my link, but then it's going to die there, right? And so you've done nothing. And And for a US job search, that's not going to get you anywhere. It might get you into a smaller applicant pool, but they're not really going to advocate for you. And so there's some major differences in terms of referrals there. So those are the two big mistakes I see in terms of networking.
Great. Thank you so much, Robin. And I know we're over time. We've had lots of great questions in the chat. And I think what I'd like to do is encourage you to continue to engage with the team at Kogod. We will be sharing, again, Varsha's email and ways to connect if you are interested in joining one of the programs. There's been a lot of great tips on developing your career. And hopefully you've gained a lot of knowledge and some do's and don'ts as you navigate your next steps in studying abroad or next steps in your career. So thank you so much to Varsha and Robin for representing Kogod today and for the very insightful information. And thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.